Hello. Welcome to Conch International Film Festival 2022's pre-fest gathering. My name is Magaly Colimon-Christopher, and I'm so happy to have you here today. Now, let me tell you a bit about our film festival. We are a festival that celebrates the Caribbean diaspora voice, the Caribbean voice, online. And this year, our festival will take place August 26th to 28th on the filmocracy.com website. Now, you're not here to just hear me talk. I know that's not the case. So, I have the greatest pleasure of all to meet your needs, to listen to the wonderful thoughts and viewpoints of Conch International Film Festival 2021 Best Director Award winner, Ryan Latchmansingh. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you doing?
I am doing good. I'm out here in New York. Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay, so it's like cold out here. Every single time I do this thing, it's like cold out here. What's the temperature like in California?
Currently 64 degrees Fahrenheit.
That is cold for Los Angeles weather.
I mean, we still get somewhat of a winter over here.
Okay, I
Yeah.
live there, but I guess I blanked out on the cold weather
Yeah.
back in the
But
day. Back in the
it
day.
fluctuates a lot. Like next week, it could be in the 80s. Who knows?
Okay, all right. Well, I know that there are a bunch of people out there who might be saying, "What film did he direct? What film won the award?" Well, the award-winning film directed by Ryan was Where the Sun Sets. And if you didn't attend our film festival last year, you have no idea what it was about. So we're going to take a moment right now and show you a trailer from Where the Sun Sets.
John Boy was looking for you earlier this morning, you know.
See what you wanted?
There's only one thing he wants. Hey, look, I'm going to need that money a little earlier this time.
Don't need your fucking help. John Boy.
Yo. I don't come back with my money now. Okay, go step.
You riding with me?
I just need someone to tell her for that 2-step.
I have more important things to take care of.
Mr. Super, are you at all worried about the recent threats against you from local gang members?
Whoever doesn't like what I'm doing, that's their problem.
But the boss don't talk to me. What I guarantee that that's so close enough. You feel me? How we want to do all that done? Just think about it now. I really need you on this one.
I love this film. I love this film. Now, Where the Sun Sets, that was your undergraduate thesis film while you were studying at Loyola Marymount University?
Yes. Yes, it was. It was just senior year. You had the option to do a thesis film or a paper. I chose to do a film set back home in Trinidad and Tobago, and somehow I pulled it off. It was not easy by any means.
Okay.
But sorry, go on.
What made it not easy? I mean, I can imagine all the things that would make it not
Yeah,
easy.
I mean,
I'd love to hear the details of what the challenges that you overcame.
first time filmmaker at that point, and producing. The main thing is producing outside of the country that you're in, especially then the infrastructure in Trinidad wasn't necessarily the easiest or like most sort of I'm looking for streamlined process that you could find. And my crew was all from the US. So like helping
Mhm.
them get what they need. There's the time difference of like trying to call and set up things. It was funny because we did this shoot in two trips, and initially it was just supposed to be one, and we made a 15-minute film, but we extended it to a 30-minute film because of financing and stuff like that, which I'm sure we'll get into after. But we, on the first trip, when we went down there, all of our pre-production kind of just fell apart because it was like, okay, we planned this out, and we get there, and like, let's say the person that's supposed to rent us the lights is like, oh yeah, I can't really do it anymore, like, oh, raising the price. So, and it's just like, what? And it was just like a scramble. So it really was like guerrilla, like filmmaking, like on the go.
So when did you shoot this? Which year?
That was 2010, the first trip. 2010, 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what made you say, I'm going to go to Trinidad and shoot my film? I'm going to go back home and shoot my film. I mean, other than the storyline.
Right. Well, because the story, it's like I wrote a film set in Trinidad. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that I could like be very proud of at the time. Like a lot of people in film school kind of write scripts based on, oh, it'd be cool. And they come up with all these situational stories and they shoot it on campus. Maybe some of them kind of go into the desert and they shoot a Western or something. But I wanted to do something that was unique to myself, kind of an ode to like my culture. And that's basically what I did.
And how accepting was the university to your choice? I mean, were they surprised? Tell me how that went for you.
I think if I wasn't the first, I think there was just one other person. Actually, yes, I think there was one other production in the history of the school that had shot internationally at that point, and it was a documentary. So it was a way easier for them because like all the equipment, most of the equipment, I should say, like say like camera and sound came from the university. And I'm talking like we're traveling with like RE like film cameras and Sennheiser.
Wow.
Exactly. So I had to have all my ducks in a row, and obviously like you need insurance and for all these things which you get through a school. But yeah, they were a bit hesitant because it's not like a documentary where like I just need like any old camera and a few like lighting and like bounce boards or something, and you just go down and shoot it like on the fly. It was like, okay, we need this type of light, and we need all of these specific things that we brought down, the lenses, so I'm trying to recall what that process really was like, but for the most part they were actually very supportive. It was just more about me having all my things align, all my ducks in a row, so that I could be like, see, I know what I'm doing. Evidently when I got there, everything fell apart, but we found a way to make a movie. So
that was 2010, and since then, have you been keeping in touch with the film world in Trinidad and Tobago? Do you feel that things have changed, that they've built infrastructure to support the
so definitely.
And how?
I would say so. That was in 2010 when I first started shooting, 10, 11. And then I entered the film into the festival in 2012. And since then, because at the time, I think the festival had been around for a few years. And it was
the Trinidad Film
Festival?
The
Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival, sorry. Had been around for a few years. Relatively new, but it was gaining a lot of like notoriety. And I think from then till now, it's seen a lot of like a huge influx of filmmakers, of artists, because I know they had like they had a program where it was getting secondary school children to make short films, like they were just encouraging, like trying to mine all the talent and basically tell them like you could be a filmmaker too. And since then, like a good few like shorts and features have come out of Trinidad. So They definitely have like I think it's one of like the biggest film festivals in the Caribbean or the Caribbean islands. So it's definitely gotten a lot better. As far as the infrastructure goes, I can't really speak to it because I haven't been there to shoot anything myself.
Okay.
But I have a few friends that are filmmakers and like they're still working a lot. So I think things
Beautiful,
are going well.
beautiful. So that's an encouraging note for any filmmaker of the Caribbean who wants to go and shoot in Trinidad, or even a
Yeah.
non-Caribbean heritage filmmaker, that there is
Mhm.
infrastructure, that you paved the way. Did you pave the way? It
I
sounds like
I
you paved the
definitely
way.
I, I don't know if I paved the way, but I think like my choice to shoot on film was an interesting choice at the time. Like in the early days, that was the only option, and then with digital, like everybody goes over to that because for the obvious reasons, it's cheaper and you don't have to tell us any digital. So as far as paving the way, I kind of reverted in a way back to like that real like grainy feel of original like film, showing the country on that format, which is something I think hadn't been done in a long time.
Nice, nice. So let's trace back to the day that you decided to apply to Loyola. What
Okay.
inspired that choice? Well, I mean, I'm sure there are a bunch of young filmmakers who are thinking about going to film school, who live in the Caribbean, who live everywhere, and they're looking at American schools and other schools. Why did you choose an American school, number one, and why Loyola?
Okay. Well, American school, because I think that Hollywood has the kind of like stronghold over like film as a cultural like phenomenon. It's where the most movies are made, except for maybe Bollywood, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's English speaking as well. Like I could have probably gone to like try to go to a French school or Italian school, but I also had family in the US. I
Mm.
had
Okay.
family in LA, so it was an easier choice for me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to kind of apply to LA. And it's also like it's LA. It's like where, like I said, where Hollywood is. It's not a bad place to be. At the time, I'd only applied to two places. One, which was Loyola Marymount University, and the second one, which was University of the West Indies, which hadn't like kind of formed their film program yet, but they had like a theater studies or like
Mm-hmm.
a theater program, and I applied to that. I am actually not sure if I got in. I don't even know if I got in. I don't recall getting like a congratulations, you've been accepted letter of any sort. But I
Were
did
you
get into.
heartbroken? Were you heartbroken? Did
I
you say, "Mom, why not me"?
I only applied to two places, which is not good at like I wouldn't give that advice to anyone.
Okay.
Because you
Okay.
want to
Okay.
spread your options a little bit wider than that. But I only applied
Okay.
to two places and I made up my mind that I was going to LMU and I got in and I went. And why specifically LMU? It's funny. This is kind of like a weird reason, but it was the year. So you have to do SATs to like go to an American school, and I had done SATs like the year before, and I was doing SAT 2, which is like
Mhm.
more like focus studies. I was doing like bio and chem, and I can't remember what else. But it was the year when they changed the format. So they used to have college writing and something else, and they changed the format to where like it was a requirement for all like for most schools for your admission. And I had already done the previous format, which didn't have it. So I would have had to wait another year to apply to like schools like USC or UCLA Film School. And I was like, I'm not waiting a whole other year because I was in the process of sitting SAT 2s. So I was like, let me look at the schools that do not require this class. And LMU was one of them. But on top of that, I think what really stood out to me was their essay. So like
Mm.
universities often ask you to write an essay, and a lot of them are like, tell us about yourself. Like, why should you come to our school? Why should we admit you? And LMU's prompt, one of the prompts was way more philosophical. It was about the journey of self. So, and I hate talking about myself, but I'm very much able to speak about the journey of self. So I like approached it from that like removed third person sense of like, okay, I could talk about this and relate to it in a different way that was more like intellectually stimulating to me, rather than being like, oh, well, I volunteered and I played football and I did this. So that was why I applied to that school. And last but not least, with LMU, you own completely your work. So the thesis film that I did, I own. A lot of other schools, like I know USC, for example, it's kind of like a lottery. I don't know if to say a lottery, but essentially not everybody gets to direct their own film. And the person, like if you get to direct, you don't own the film. The school owns the film. So
those are some important notes to take into consideration. Make sure you'll own your film when you're done, because right now, I mean, you entered your film into Conch International Film Festival in 2021 because you owned your film. Would you have been able to do that had you not owned your film?
Probably not, or I probably would have had to gotten like somebody's permission or something. So
right, that's an important note. Is that a rarity in film schools in the United States?
I am not 100% certain if it's a rarity. But essentially, okay, it's a double-edged sword, because it's like, okay, I own the film, but I had to raise the money to pay for the film. That's why I own the
There
film.
You go. There you go. So what were your primary finance sources? Sorry.
Okay. No, this is fine.
No, go ahead.
I think USC gives you all that money and resource, so it's theirs. So the primary financiers were scholarships and family. And then, so like I was mentioning earlier, for graduation, you need to make a 15-minute film, which is what I had written and which is what I had shot on that first trip. But I didn't have, because we shot on film, I didn't have enough money to finish the post-production process, which is the telecine, which is the process of converting film to digital so that you can edit. And we kind of went in knowing that, and we're like, we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. And at that time, the Trinidad and Tobago Film Company had a program that was offering money to 3 projects. And I applied, and I was one of the 3. I got it. And basically, like, they co-owned the film with me for a certain amount of time. And that is where I got the rest of the money, because then they wanted a 30-minute film, because they kind of wanted to put the films together. So I had to write 15 more pages, kind of extend the story, and then go back to Trinidad to shoot, take the crew again, all that good stuff, and make a 30-minute film. And that's where kind of like I was able to finish the film, make it a longer film too. But that's where the financing came from: self, scholarships, and then partner with the TTFC.
So that was post-graduation or while you were still in school?
Yeah, that was post-graduation. That would have been like basically I finished I graduated and then went, like, that was my job, basically. Like, as soon as I finished graduation, like, I wrote more, and then like pre-production, went back down there the following year, like a few months later.
So is Trinidad one of the few Caribbean nations that do provide that kind of funding for a filmmaker?
Well, I can't speak to the other countries, but
are they generous to non-Trinidadians?
Yeah, definitely. I know that they still have. I know there's I'm forgetting what it's called, but there is like a workshop that, like, it sources from wherever in the world. I think it has to have a focus on Caribbean stories as well. But like, they'll go from the pitch meeting to, like,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay, you got to enter it into the thing so I can share it with the audience. Is there a name for the organization?
I will look it up and I will email it to you, because I do not haven't even thought of that in so long. To be honest, like the TTFC that gave me the cash to make my film, I don't think that program is currently operational because it's a government program. Every time the government changes,
Yeah.
things change,
Yeah.
right? Like that program goes away or it changes what it actually looks like. But I know like there are other like companies, entities like this Film Co that is doing
Film
something
Co.
similar. Yeah. So I will get the information and send it to you. And then the last thing I'd say is that I stumbled upon an article about someone in Barbados looking for looking to help financing with feature films in the Caribbean. And I just know that out of the top of my head, I do not have the information ready. I will find it and I will send it to you, and you could blast it out to your viewers.
Okay. I will do that. They're going to be on the lookout for that. So it sounds like the words of advice is do your research.
Yeah.
Know what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared. Don't look for things to be handed to you. Be prepared to get what you need to achieve your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss anything?
No, you hit the nail on the head. And don't give up.
Don't give up. Whether you are about to be a student filmmaker or if you're an indie filmmaker who's got a project. So what made you say I'm going to submit my film to a film festival? Were they encouraging that while you were in school? Were you aware of film festivals before you went to school?
Yeah, definitely they were encouraging that while they were in school. I mean, you're going to film school, like the main point of a film is to be seen, and you want to get it into as many festivals as you can. So there was, and I'm sure there still is, there was an office of like external affairs for the film school, basically someone that would help students with festivals, like finding festivals for their specific films, like, oh, you should apply to this one, you should submit to this one, or not, don't submit to this one, that kind of thing.
Did they advise you to apply to the Trinidad Film Festival?
No,
and Tobago Film Festival?
I don't, they probably didn't even know about that one. Like I know about it because I'm from the country. But okay, this is some good advice. The problem with like my situation was most festivals only program 15-minute short films because they want to fit in as many shorts before a feature. It's just for the program. They get to fit more in. Like a 30-minute film is more difficult for a festival programmer to put into their festival than a 30-minute. Sorry, I don't know if I mixed that up. But 50 minutes is the ideal, right? 50 minutes and below. And that's why, like in film school, your thesis is not, you can't have one longer than 15 minutes. I did a 30-minute film because the TTFC wanted that, because they wanted to combine 3 30-minute films and market it as one movie with one, like, there's 3 different stories in one theme, kind of like a like Paris, I Love You, so like kind of thing. Did not work out.
Oh, okay.
Films were so they were so different. It felt like it was trying to like squeeze it together, and it didn't really work out. So we just kept them individual. But that hurt me with applying to other festivals because my finished project was 30 minutes. And that is harder to get selected at most festivals.
Well, guess what, everybody? 30 minutes is the length for films going to Conch International Film Festival. How did you find out about us?
Oh, a friend of mine, Anselm Richardson, who is also Trinidadian filmmaker. He writes for The Boys, pretty cool guy. He just emailed me and was like, "Hey, you should apply to this," because he's seen my short and he loves it. So he was like, "You should send this in." That's how I found out.
Thank goodness for him. Anselm Richardson was one of our festival award jury members in 2021, and we really appreciated his feedback and his participation in our inaugural film festival. So tell me, what was your favorite memory participating in the film festival back in 2021 and our inaugural film festival? Did you know it was our inaugural film festival?
I did know that. My favorite memory. I feel like I shouldn't say winning the best director award.
Say what you want to say, baby.
So I'll say generally the fact that it happened. I mean, just we're still in the thick of the pandemic, and it was a reason to, come together with other filmmakers and people of like minds and discuss film and watch films and like just be in a community that felt comfortable and like it's Caribbean people, like it's like people that understand your shorthand. So it's I would say that was the memory. The best memory was just being a part of it. I would say generally, winning was nice, but
winning was nice.
Yeah.
So is your film screening in any other film festivals this year that the audience can go to and check out your story?
It is not currently screening in any other festivals. I'm focusing right now on some other things to come, but no, that specific film is not screening anywhere else right now. Although
I'm really grateful we got
you need
it.
to send it in, like it's out of competition. You can have it.
Well, we need to talk about that. Out of we'll talk about that. Actually, okay. Look out for my phone call.
Okay.
Thank God for your phone call. Let me check to see if our audience is asking any questions. Hold on one second. I don't see any questions. They're just overcome with joy just listening to what you have to share. I'm really so pumped that you had the ability to share this viewpoint because we're accepting films from student filmmakers as well as indie filmmakers, and for them to hear your experience and to hear your advice. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us and hearing this amazing conversation. And feel free to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube page and get a follow-up on our next conversation, which will be taking place tomorrow. But before we segue into our conversation tomorrow, Conch International Film Festival is accepting scripts and short films, 30 minutes max, which made Ryan really, 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 really happy. And apparently, I did not know that film schools kind of pushed students to only 15-minute shorts. But for those of you who are lucky enough to get financed or lucky enough to have the wisdom to shoot a film that went longer than 15 minutes and you're of Caribbean heritage, or if you live in the Caribbean, go ahead and submit your film for consideration. The deadline is April 15th. So you got 3 months to finish the editing. Right? You're talking about editing, right, Ryan? Finish your editing and submit your film, submit your scripts. We're accepting scripts up to 40 pages long. And we are so looking forward to you coming into the fold. Believe in yourself, submit. Because look at Ryan, he's busy churning out the next major, amazing story. Are you thinking about shooting it in Trinidad?
No, this one is going to be shot in Italy, hopefully.
Wow. Okay, I am hungry to know about this film. I can't wait. So I shared with you his info. If you don't know anything about Ryan and you want to stay in touch, this is his social media information. Look Ryan up. If you're based in the Caribbean, know the important keys to success: research, faith, hard work, ask for what you want. That means money. All right, everyone. So what were you saying, Ryan? What were you saying?
I said you're right. That's important. Money is very important in this.
Super important.
Yep.
And finding out if any government is willing to hand you money to make your dream come true, that's a big task that you can take on. Go ahead and get your money in there. And I bet you're raising funds right now, Ryan. Are you raising funds right now?
Trying to.
I believe that you will actually do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm working with some other people that have like financiers and stuff. So
build your team. It sounds like that's another message you're sending out there. Build your team of supporters and your believers, because if he hadn't been friends with Anselm Richardson, we would have never met Ryan. We would have never been able to share his amazing film with you during the festival. So come back tomorrow, Saturday, January 22nd at 3 p.m. New York Eastern Time. And Mayela Cancel from Karu Karamet podcast will be joining me for a conversation with Wally Fall. He's a Guadalupan filmmaker, and he won Conch International Film Festival 2021's Best Cinematography Award for his film Fouiller les Étoiles, or Plowing the Stars. Yes, I stumbled over the Creole. Forgive me. Anyway, thank you so much, Ryan. It was a pleasure seeing you.
It's a pleasure.
And watch out for Ryan. Watch out for him. I'm telling you. Don't be sleeping on Ryan. All right? And have a wonderful day.
Thank you.